Hey, before we jump into the video, I want to let you know this is a significantly shorter, less comprehensive video on the finals because I am working with new editing software. That being said, I want to let you know what you will see in this video early and up front. This video is more so a hit piece against your friends that quit playing the game. I will be showing you and them, if you send it to them, the new weapons, maps, modes, and features in Season 2 and why Embark's seasonal content delivery model simply works and why others don't. Feel free to share this with them to hold them hostage to play more Power Shift with you. Thanks, and I hope you have a good day. The Finals Season 2 has impressed me and many others for its ability to create rapport with players, deliver on content and pain points, while evolving the game and its image through a tight 3-month period. The team at Embark is proving that they care, and wildly surpassing expectations, making their contemporaries in the live service space look meek and frail in comparison, outright embarrassing them in every avenue, in every field, and every aspect of this space. The Finals really is an enigma among all the other live service shooters right now. It does so much right, but falls short on the real basis of what the glory days of FPS games were made up of. Camo chasing in Call of Duty, clans and custom games on Halo, the freedom of expression and the way that you want to play in Battlefield. Well, I guess we kind of have that one. This may seem like a distant memory, but just a decade ago... Holy shit, I'm getting old. About a decade ago, the space was dominated by games built on the idea of individual skill and cosmetic progression that tied and was woven and built into one another, as well as their killer shooter mechanics and sandboxes. The big three were simply unconquerable, and time proved that the only way they would sink is if they sabotaged themselves. At first, it seems as if Embark was destined to follow in their footsteps. Introduce an amazing sandbox where the gameplay itself is great, but without the core feature sets that have proven to be a must-have accessory to player retention. No notable unlock camos, no challenges, no individual player progression outside of purchasable cosmetics, and no outward-facing cosmetics like rank badges or skins to flex, talent or weapon loyalty skins, badges, none of that. Couple that with, let's just see the
game's inherent competitive nature that forces skill checks at every gunfight or objective, and you'll find yourself with a dwindling player base because they keep staring at a gray screen.
All right, deep breath. Whew. Okay, so yeah, it had a slew of problems that it had to tackle. But excuse me, Embark, we were not familiar with your gameplay. All we had to do was have a little faith in you, let you cook, and deliver to the players in a honest-to-goodness, industry-defining way. Okay, so first we have to tackle what it means to be a hardcore player. I mean, we're talking about the people that are unemployed and they play this game for 2 to 6 hours a day, minimum, right? Two is pretty low, but probably like 4 to 6 hours a day, minimum every day. When they get home from work, they boot it up and they play with their homies. They jump in on a 3-stack, or even if they solo queue, they're putting lots of hours into this game. These are the bread and butter, but it's really easy to get to these people into your title because there's a niche out there for everything. I mean literally everything. Just look at Honey Pop or something. You know, everyone plays something that is handcrafted, curated, and built for them. When you're talking about the AAA shooter space, though, people don't like losing. These games are inherently competitive. Like, for starters, the Finals is a game predicated on its open-ended, insanely deep, free-flowing sandbox, but also its competitive nature, right? Like, we have to all be on the same page about that. This is true. It's a competitive shooter. Putting the player's agency first, and when a game allows such creative freedom and player agency, the vast chasms that define the skill gaps between individual players becomes glaringly apparent. The bottom line is that the Finals demands you play well in order to be allowed to play. If you are spending more time staring at a gray screen or watching others play, chances are you're going to quit the game. Well, after what I'm sure is many contemplative nights, Embark has finally compromised on its objective-focused game modes. It isn't quite team deathmatch, as you still need a way to make players converge on one another in these big, destructive, dynamic maps, but it's damn close. let me introduce you to Power Shift.
We seem to be having some technical but one thing's for certain, it will be fun. Take the platform!
Conquest in Battlefield, Capture the Flag or Infection in Halo, Domination, TDM, and Search and Destroy in Call of Duty, Payload in TF2, and Attrition in the better TF2 if you get what I'm getting at. These are all genre-defining modes within their respective games. The Finals shift with a genre-defining mode as well. It's cash-out style, objective-focused mode of stealing and fighting against the match timer and other players for cash. It melts perfectly with the game's aesthetic and sandbox and game show idea, and ever since I've had total faith that Embark could succeed in this game from the very first moment that I played it. My only, and maybe some others' only concern was that the Finals needed a more casual mode. I know that games live and die by their casual player base. The dip in player numbers and egregious bitching about the game balance made this very apparent to me. So they just went out and did it again. Another genre-defining mode, not because of its concept, no, but because of its perfect execution on the Payload King of the Hill style of play. The whole concept of a moving hill to capture has been done before, countless times, especially when it's supposed to run a set right around the map, like the primary Team Fortress 2 and Overwatch flagship modes, but like they do every time, Embark proved that they can just do it better. That sandbox they have created is better for every mode you can think of, and that the Finals is just a better game. It's just a better game. With the introduction of Power Shift, you can play whatever class you like or whatever gadget you want on the fly. With respawn timers really fast and increased player count per team, it's just absolute chaos. And the addition of new maps to the mode coming later this season is nothing short of outpouring love from the devs. I can also go ahead and cite this. Just a couple days ago, we already got a new map for this mode, and it was the latest one introduced this season, and it plays wonderfully. Their efforts and talents here are being seen across the board. See, the initial concern from many players was the lack of content delivery and support from the devs across Season 1, and rightfully so. Well, kinda. It's normal to be scared of getting burnt, especially if you come from like Apex or Overwatch or Destiny. Season 1, however, was the launch of the game, which came with many of its own problems to tackle, as you do when launching any game. I would imagine the server magic they're pulling to make the Finals work here makes the launch of the title even harder. Trying to panic button fix stuff that players were abusing, while trying to keep the servers alive, while trying to balance fix problems and pain points from the community, while keeping your storefront alive, the list goes on and on. Game dev is really hard, so I imagine the resounding sigh of relief the community had when they announced Power Shift, 3 new gadgets, 3 new weapons, a new map, and a whole slew of balance changes was absolutely met with one of those "God damn it, we finally did it, we're out of the dark." Embark must have been feeling great. And man, they really did do it. Season 2 is an absolute resounding success. Okay, well, this is the part where if I was a big YouTuber, I would tell you to step off if all you're looking for was a new mode where you weren't constantly getting third-partied. But I'm small, and I like engagement. Also, if you just think anything I'm saying makes sense or sounds smart or is funny at all, stick around. We're going to get into the nitty-gritties now. Concerns of content delivery and support on live service games is nothing new. However, I can't help but feel that the Finals has a little bit ways to go, but I'm still going to try and quell your concerns gently. Its new challenge circuit system for rewards feels new yet dated. New, as in I haven't quite seen this in many games, and dated because COD did something similar with challenge skins 10 years ago, and now I'm left scratching my balls looking for more, as are many players, because they literally did this in Black Ops 2 like 10 years ago, and they did it better. The ranked overhaul was good. However, you have many of the same pain points from the majority of players, with diamonds in their silver and gold lobbies and awkward progression. They recently added, though, a new 3-and-3 chevron system to display rank progression. I'll put it up on the screen for you. However, this too feels dated and more so shoehorned in because people were complaining. But that is a good sign. They are responding to criticism and acting quickly, and this is better than nothing. I do have to say, what I really feel here is that certain parts of this game feel so rushed. And I play a lot of games, but the systems here feel like it's the earliest iterations of these systems that we are seeing. Game developers usually take 6 months to a year to lay these systems out flat and get a feel for what players will and won't like before shipping it into the live game. But that's not quite how it feels here. I like the ship it who cares mentality of getting this type of content out the door, but I've been burned one too many times from games like Destiny and Halo recently, and as they say, once bitten, twice shy. So, what else is new on the table to nitpick? The new guns. The 9.3R burst pistol, the Bullpup burst FAMAS, and the KS-23 lumbering slug shotgun. And not for puns, this thing actually shoots logs. Seriously, this gun is awesome. Before I dive into the deep end on these weapons, let me tell you a tale of balance. I can teach you a lot here. Please, just give me a moment. Across many games such as League of Legends, Tekken 7, Rainbow Six Siege, Apex, Battlefield COD, these games all had a similar problem, and it all started at about the same time in their lifespan, when they started adding additional new content to the game, items, weapons, champs, heroes, etc. They ran up against design problems of wanting to create new and exciting versions of the aforementioned player tools. This helped drive engagement and increase playtime, and more playtime is more time staring at that pesky shop button, but to buy more cosmetics, gotta sell. But when those new items or champs or heroes or guns are tied to in-game purchases behind a paywall, they are inherently paid to win by definition. I'm not 100% personally calling these games pay to win, but by definition, if you were given an advantage if you put money up to get the new Peacekeeper in Black Ops 2, or maybe the new Agent in Rainbow Six Siege in its early days, yeah, or a new Legend in League of Legends, yeah, just a little bit, or especially the new characters in Tekken 7 when that was releasing, these games have a history of launching a new tool for the players to use, having it completely overtuned in hopes to push players to buy into the new tool with hopes of them to abusing it against other players to get them to buy the new tool. See, here's an example. When Fakumram, Fuck Your Mom, was terrorizing the game in Tekken 7, it was pretty obviously they intentionally launched the character nuts to the fucking sky busted because they just didn't care. And if you were getting clobbered in your online ranked matches, they were banking on you too biting the bullet and wanting to stoop low and buy the new character to play him so that you can win. This happens far too often the last generation, and I'm glad to say, confidently, Embark have not even a pinky toe in this pond. Every new weapon feels balanced with its own place in the meta, getting its own subtle changes like the current Season 1 weapons, not to make them too strong or too weak, no, but to simply make them feel great to use. Every new gadget is a blast to mess with and adds unfathomable depths and layers to the mental stack of every facet of this game. Wholly transformative gadgets and weapons creating what feels like an almost new game every time they are used in tandem, all while being free, so even if they were strong, they wouldn't be paid to win. I literally can't make this up. It's really this simple to be a good developer that takes care of their player base. If you are an active player in other games and are somehow glued to this video and you got this far in, if there's one thing that I say that you remember and take away from this video, it's this. Your developers and most do not care for you the way that you think they do. However, my developers, Embark, care for us like a parent cares for their child. It's never been more apparent how talented and caring this team is when juxtaposed by their contemporaries. Seriously, put them up against any other live service developer right now and they knock them all flat. So I suppose I made some pretty big claims, so I guess now I gotta chat about monetization. Something about journalistic integrity here and being on the side of the consumers, but when it comes down to it, devs gotta make their money, man. Ninjas gotta eat. Well, thankfully Embark threw me a bone to slobber on because I don't gas them enough off already. This Easter event cosmetic pack released, and I woefully said, fuck that, I'm not spending that much money on a pink bunny suit, and that's coming from a guy with pastel pink hair right now. However, on further inspection, you get not just the suit, which I imagine is only going to be here once, but you get another $20 of in-game V-Bucks for your trouble. Pretty sweet deal if you ask me. The bundle isn't for your average consumer, it's for the loyalist and the dedicated players who want to support the developers, right? However, Season 1 did strew up some other complaints in my book, so they don't get a free pass in this department. The lack of cohesive style in the promotional material to, like, the weird alien, Elvis, and ballerina skins rubbed me the wrong way. Sure, it fits in line with the game show aesthetic where, like, anything goes, because it's virtual reality, but what really hooked me were the street and techwear aesthetics on full blast before the game's launch. And I'm glad to say that I was just a dumb idiot who was complaining because I didn't know what direction they were taking their cosmetics. Each season is now doing the Fortnite thing, which has a style they are chasing as well as sprinkling in that little techwear. I am more than thrilled with this season's Battle Pass, and even with the free event cosmetic skins. They are just really hitting a home run in my book in this department. I'm so impressed. Also, I've been chatting about that event for a couple of times now, right? So why don't I actually get to talking about it? The LTMs in the finals have been, in general, just hot pieces of ass, man. They are not good. They are not good. I would sit here for an additional 10 minutes explaining to you why each individual LTM we previously had were flops, but I'm lazy and kind of did that once already. That being said, the Easter LTM is by far and large the most successful, most loved mode I've seen across my friends and people online. They really threaded the needle of balance from the choice of weapons to gadgets. It's just near perfect, and using the new game mode is genius, and having it be on the new map that releases the week after, it's just really simple stuff. The challenges in the mode as well were good enough to leave me satiated on something to chase for a week or so I would just say this is a total success, and I now have some total faith that, since they did this once with an LTM, they got an LTM just great once, they could definitely do it again. Let's just hope that this is them hitting their stride and not a one-hit wonder on these modes. And yeah, the LTM that the map is on, amazing. I don't know how they did it. I remember I actually had to obviously rewatch the trailer for scrubbing through footage and stuff like that, and I was just amazed at how good it looks. And the music this season is amazing as usual. These guys are fucking killing it over there in the soundtrack department. And I know soundtracks, and this one's a banger. This one's a banger for real. And they just killed it with the map here. From the way that it actually looks, the use of the colors, the day, evening, night, it just looks incredible. Looks amazing. The way that callouts work, because the coloring of the inside of the buildings, every part of this map feels amazing. They really put their necks out on this one, taking a risk almost, because this is not something that you would typically do, and they fucking killed it. They just killed it. It falls in line with the theme of the season with hackers, and it kind of feels like what you would imagine the building blocks of an augmented reality game show were made up of if it got hacked into, and then people had to fight on this map, this disjointed, mashed together map of assets, and it feels really, really cool. So we're at the part of the video where we gotta say our closing words, right? What do I have left to say that nobody else has said? Well, I know a couple of things. I'm torn on what I feel here, though, but what I know deep down that the finals, if given time, will probably bounce back up to insane numbers again. I know deep down that the game launched with a ridiculously small amount of modes, even lacking in the tutorial section, as it launched without a tutorial. Come on, man, we need onboarding. I know deep down that they could just also be treading water as of right now, praying that more players come on board and buy cosmetics, because those server costs are high. I also know that I and everybody else can't see the whole picture. Sure, Steam charts is a pretty okay indicator of how successful a game is, but only on this platform, the PC. We still have two other consoles people play on, one of them being a huge platform where I imagine the majority of console shooter fans aggregated. But is a new casual focus mode, in a season with 3 new weapons, a new map, 3 new gadgets, is that stuff going to be enough to save the game? I don't quite think so. However, we can look at other games that skirted death more than once. Every time a new looter shooter releases, it doesn't quite hit the mark in one way or another. However, just like Destiny 2, in this regard, I believe the finals has found its lightning in a bottle, and if given enough time to cook, like Destiny did, there will eventually be too large of a selection of content for players to ignore. Because where it really counts in the gaming space is content delivery. That being said, though, there really is no cure-all to initial negative impressions except for word of mouth, and that's what I'm doing here. So, is Season 2 enough to save the game? Huh? No, it's not. But regular content delivery, season after season like this, will be more than enough. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day.